This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this StockBox interview.
Joining us this morning is David Lenigas, the chairman of Vinanz plc, soon to be renamed London BTC company, listed on the London Stock Exchange main board. Thank you very much for joining us, David. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm great, mate. It's a great time to be alive if you're a Bitcoin fan or a believer in Bitcoin. You know, particularly when you look at a lot of the world going through very difficult times. At least the Bitcoin sector is a little ray of sunshine in a world of misery and doom.
It is, and I want to come on to that in a moment, but let's just talk about the headline this morning, which is, of course, you've opened that retail offer, the wrap. It's open for investors, for retail to take part. It's an open offer, effectively. It closes on Monday. You said in the press release you're looking to raise $1 million. That'll go straight into the Bitcoin Treasury. So just a couple of questions. What's driven you to do this retail open offer? And $1 million, is that what you're hoping for, or hoping to get a bit more?
No, they're good questions. The retail offering we've been working on for some time. We've been watching what companies like the Smarter Web company have done very successfully to sort of draw retail attention to what they're doing with respect to building their Bitcoin business. They're on Aquis, which always has its challenges, but they're doing a phenomenal job. And they only started offering. They've done 3 of these retail offerings, I think, from memory, maybe 4, but I think it's 3. And their share price has literally gone from 2 pence to nearly £2. I mean, and their activity trading in the United States on the OTC Pinks last night was phenomenal. So right. There's a lot of interest now starting to pop up in the UK with respect to Bitcoin Treasury companies, or Bitcoin companies as such. And Coincilium did a retail offering a couple of weeks ago that was well oversubscribed. And they've done extremely well as well. I mean, they've literally gone from a couple of pennies to sort of 12 to 13 pence yesterday on good volume. And, but they can do a lot of extra things on Aquis that we haven't been able to do being a London Stock Exchange mainboard company. It takes us a lot longer to sort of get through the regulatory processes to be able to do this. And I'm pleased to say we're through that that sort of quagmire of being able to launch this retail offer. We launched it last night at 13.75 pence. It's nice to see the stocks trading at 14.5 this morning. So basically, it's an open offer to retail investors in the UK that want to look at this, existing shareholders, but more importantly, non-existing shareholders as well. And all they've got to do is call their broker or speak to their financial advisor and have a look. But I mean, we see roses ahead for where we sit here. And yes, most of it will go into holding Bitcoin. We've stated very publicly that we see Bitcoin as our preferred currency holding. So the more money we have in Treasury, the more Bitcoin we'll own. Yes, we're a Bitcoin mining company, but we also have a very large Bitcoin holding, and we're looking at making that even larger.
Well, it is interesting you mentioned about the share price as well. So retail can actually take part in that offer at a discount, effectively, to the current share price of the company.
Well, true. When we launched it yesterday, it was about a 5% Our advice was, look, launch at a little bit of a discount to the market, particularly for retail, so they feel like they're getting a decent deal. And it's nice to see the stock trading up again this morning. So the discount's sort of getting bigger for those that might be interested. Sure. But I never tell people to buy, sell, or hold shares ever. People have got to make up their own minds. They've got to seek professional, legal, and accounting advice and make their own decisions.
Indeed.
But, I mean, Bitcoin is a lot of the regulations around the world regard holding Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies as very erratic and risky. But my view of life is I think holding GBP or US dollars is very risky these days.
Indeed. So will all the money that you raise, and I guess it could be, you don't know what you're going to get as a final number, but I guess it's as much as what comes in. Will that all be deployed into the Treasury?
Look, the news release says that we'll be putting it into the assets the asset base that we've prescribed in our prospectus when we listed on the London Stock Exchange in January this year. Look, in reality, most of it will, because we always say we're raising money for Bitcoin for Bitcoin acquisition and things like that. But we've also got working capital issues and stuff like that. Well, not issues, but you put it into various parts within the business. But the majority is going to go into our treasury until we work out what to do with it. Which will be Bitcoin.
Good. And just finally, David, what's your take on what's going on at the moment? We're seeing quite a bit of, I would say, a lot of noise in the sector at the moment, with Bitcoin, of course, hitting all-time highs. Treasury companies, as you mentioned, doing really well. So, I mean, what is going on? Is the UK sort of waking up? We're always a little bit behind the Americans.
Well, I think it's really only just beginning. I mean, we as Vinanz, when we were on Aquis, we were trying to sort of stand on a soapbox and tell everybody, hey, have a look at this. This is looking more than interesting. And this year we listed on the London Stock Exchange, and I'm glad to see that companies like the Smarter Web company are really sort of being the vanguards of this, which makes it easier for me because I don't need to sit there and justify my valuation when you look at what SWC are doing, and I give them full credit. So, the more the adoption, the better. And the Americans have really picked up Bitcoin. They're even looking at putting it in a strategic reserve for the government. They already have a very significant amount in strategic reserve. There's many, many countries around the world and many states, particularly in America, looking at making Bitcoin part of their strategic reserve holdings. And I think the whole sentiment about Bitcoin is changing. I mean, Bitcoin's becoming a real life asset class. Many people call it digital gold. There's even people saying that it could actually be worth more than gold as a market sector. So it's all very exciting. But from the UK perspective, it's very embryonic, and I'm very excited about where we think we can see it go. And to have Vinanz listed on the main board, soon to be renamed the London Bitcoin Company or BTC Company, I think we've got a long way to go, and I'm very excited about it.
Excellent. Good. Well, we've got the weekend. We've got a few days to get that wrap closed up. So I guess we can catch up maybe when that wrap is closed, see what the proceeds were, and just check in.
100%. Great. Mark, thank you very much.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.